Hey everybody, this is Evan with Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today I'm bringing you a review of American Psycho, a killer game, here by Renegade Games. This is a 2 to 5 player game. It takes about 45 minutes to play it, and it's for ages 14 and up. I'm going to take you down to the table, give you a quick rundown of how the game is played, and then bring you back up from the table to give you my final thoughts. Alright, so down here on the tabletop, we got an example of American Psycho set up here. So I'm going to take you through basic gameplay of the game. And right now I have it set up for a 3-player game. So we have a bunch of different cards here. So these are going to be the cards here. This is a trick-taking game. And in this, there are going to be 4 different suits. So you're going to have the gold suit, which is called your assets. You have the red, which is reservations. You got the gray here, or silver, which is business card. And you have the blue, which is routine. So you can see I have these ones. These are all low value. So based on player count, you're going to manipulate the deck and take certain cards out. And you just reference the rule book itself to see what cards actually come out. So once you have the cards taken out for what you need, you're going to shuffle up the deck, and you're going to get couple special cards, which are called these confession cards, which I'll go over here in a little bit. You're going to have one set out for every single person, and then you're going to put one into the deck, shuffle it up, and everybody gets 11 cards. The only difference to that is this game does play up to 5 people. If you do 5 players, you are going to do 10 cards each, not 11. So once everyone has their hands, I'm going to get it all situated here. You're going to take a look, get it all organized out. Your hand's going to look something like this. So you're going to determine who's going to be the first player. And we're going to say that this player here is going to be first player, and that's going to proceed clockwise like this. So the chainsaw here is going to represent who started this round. And the leader briefcase is a person that is going to be the leader of the meeting here. We have a nice round marker here. And so this plays up to 8 rounds. Now, very faintly here, it's going to tell you if you have so many players, the number of rounds to the end of the game is shorter. So if you have 5 players, you're only playing for 5 rounds. So like in this example that we have set up, we're actually going to only play till round 7. There's a 2-player variant also here that has a couple specific rules, but you can play that one. It goes all the way to 8. Over on this side, you're going to see the suits here that I went over. You got the assets, the business cards, reservations, and the routine. And you're going to have what's called a killer suit, which I'm going to explain as we start to get into the game here itself. So this player over here has the chainsaw and the leader. So they're going to be the first one to start. So they're going to take these, which are called the scene cards, and going to lead the meeting. So you flip this over here, and you look, and it has an A side and a B side. So what this means is these are rules that are going to go into this specific meeting, or the specific, not round, but subsect of the round. You pick which side you want to have be applicable into this round. So winner may acquire own card, which I'll explain that here in a minute, or winner may acquire card from another player's collection. So acquiring cards in the collections, once we get through a round here, I'll explain that. But just take this, and let's say that the player wants the A side, so you just kind of cover it that way. So this side is in play. The other side is covered up, not going to be in play at all. So, like I said, this is a trick-taking game. So you're going to take a look, and you're going to figure out what card you want to lead with, what suit. And whatever suit I play, each subsequent player has to follow along with that suit. If they have that suit, great. If they don't, they can play a different suit, but only if they do not have that original suit. Highest number, it will win the suit. Now, this can change that. Sometimes it'll make it so that the low number will win. and a couple other things, and there's a couple other special cards that will change things, but in the base game we don't have to worry about that, only if this card will change the rule itself. So, since this person played the scene and chose the side, they're going to have to pick the suit off their hand of what they want to do. But right before that, we have to determine what the killer suit is. So, whenever the chainsaw moves, killer suit gets to be picked, and you can choose any one of these. The other times that this can move is also based off of these cards. They can force the killer suit to move. So what the killer suit is the suit that will always trump anything else. So say if we put that on the business card. That's what they decided. And we're going to say he's going to play the 15 there of reservations. So the second player here is going to look at their hand. They have to play the red because they have the red. They can't play the blue or the gold over here. But they do have the killer suit, so they could play that if they so want. But they're going to hold off onto that. So they're going to pick and they're going to play the 11. So third player here, we're going to take a look here. They don't have a red, so normally they could play a blue or they could play the gold. Well, let's say they really want to win this trick for whatever reason. So they're going to take the 12 here and play it like that. So once everyone has a chance to play, you're going to assess what was the initial suit. So in this case, it was the red reservation. Who would have the highest number, they would normally win that. But since they have the killer suit, it's going to go to the third player. So they're going to take that. And once you win, you get to acquire a card. So you can't acquire cards that you play. So that's left with, he has his choice here. Now, what does that all mean? We have this little handy dandy reference here that anything that you acquire can go into endgame scoring. So assets, business cards, reservation, routine is going to tell you how they score at the very end. So you want to watch as cards come out to figure out how you can get your scoring up as high as you can. The other thing you can do is when you're choosing to acquire cards here, you can put it in your collection, or you can actually just take like if I want to take this card and just put it in my hand, I could do that too. So you have your choice of one or the other. So once we went all around, the person that won the suit or won the hand there acquires and figures out what they're doing. We go and look at the bottom part here. So it says if you didn't follow suit, you have to take out of these bottom row of cards, which are the murder cards. So how they work is the first time, you're going to take the music card. The second time, you're going to take the weapon card. And the third time, you're going to take the victim. Whenever you take the victim, these two go back into the pile, but you keep the murder, or the victim card. So at the end of the game, these are worth negative points, unless you have the most. If you have the most of these, they're actually worth positive points. So you want to kind of watch and see how people are doing. You might possibly want to collect more of these once you get on a roll of them. And it's all based on how you want to do that. But in this situation, third player would be collecting their first murder card, which is the music card. So since we finished that, leader goes over here to second player. Anytime the leader goes and switches, we take a new scene and goes here, and likewise they repeat how they want this to go. So now that second player here has a leader, and we flip this, like I said, they're going to cover up one of these sides, and then we're going to go do this again. Killer suit doesn't change, that only changes when the round goes. So leader's going to go, next person is going to go over here. Once the leader comes back to where the chainsaw is, the chainsaw goes to the next person, so it's going to go to player 2. The round's going to go down, and when they pull the next card here, they get to change the killer suit. Also, whenever the chainsaw moves, you're going to deal out cards to everyone. It is however many players are playing the game minus one is how you get to refill your hand up. So you're slowly going to whittle down the cards that you have in your hand round after round. So, as talked about, we have the special cards in here, like this one here, says Confession. So as you can see, one played passes turn, so you don't have to play a card out of your hand. So keeps, if you're trying to bank a card or a couple cards for something, the situation down here is not ideal for what you have in your hand. You could always throw this card out. These cards can't be kept in a collection. They have to go into other players' hands if they win the suit. Now, one nice thing is, at the end of the game, you can discard one victim from your collection of your choice before scoring, which are these. So it's a way to get rid of negative points if you have these in your possession. So you can use these to keep cards in your hand, but you also want to try and collect these too, because they can help you get rid of these negative points, unless you're trying to get as many of one of these. So there's a couple little layers of strategy that go into this game too. What's really neat too is you can get into some advanced rules, which they have more of these special cards that add a little more of a wrinkle. And these actually have more abilities on them when you collect them too, also. So, as you can see, there's all sorts of that. But I'm not going to go into that. That's all into the advanced rules, which is laid out really nicely into the instruction book there. And the book isn't very long, so you can go over it really nicely. Last thing we cover here too, like I showed you this before. So you have this scoring that's on this side. On this side, quick rule reference, so it's really nicely laid out for you there. But that's the game in a nutshell. I'm going to bring it back up from the table here, give you my final thoughts. All right, so final thoughts here on American Psycho. So the game, it's basically, when you boil it down, it's a trick-taking game. Not very complicated to learn how to do. Once you understand how to play a trick-taking game, you're going to understand how to play this really quick. The in-game scoring is a little more difficult, and it adds, like I said, when we were down at the table looking at it, a layer of complexity to it. And it's more into the strategy of what suits do I want to acquire and why and when. And it's nice and handy that on the card itself here, let me grab one. It's right there in front of you in this little section. So it's not too complicated to have, but you do need that reminder there. It will definitely help you to score them, because each one is scored a little bit differently. I like the extra confession cards. Adds a nice little extra wrinkle in there of how am I going to play this hand? Am I going to jump into this trick, not jump into this trick? If I want to hold off on something, it gives me a way out, which I really like. But at the detriment, I could lose out on this card, which could help me get away from negative points. And I do like how they put the different scenes into the game, because it changes every hand. So one thing that I don't care for trick-taking games so much is once you're 4 or 5 hands into it, every round just feels exactly the same. So this will change it, because sometimes you want the high suit to win. Sometimes the low suit will be the one that'll win. Or it'll allow you to change the killer suit, which will completely change how your thoughts are on how you're going to play that hand. And then you also have the murder section on there too, which is that second thing you have to pay attention. And I really like how that all kind of plays together. Art style on this, so they're stills taking from the movie, but then they stylize it over them. So it's not exactly a still from the movie. So like, here's a good example here. So you can tell that it's taken from the picture, the motion picture itself, but you can see the extra that they did to it. And every card into the game is the same way, and it adds that really cool look to it. So overall, if you're into trick-taking games, you want something that's going to have this variable into that. This could be something to look at to play. Now, you just have to be okay with the theme. If you enjoy the movie, or movies in this genre, then it would be okay for you. If you're more of a casual, like I'm not a super big into the horror genre or stuff like that, So this is not necessarily one that, you know, would have much appeal to me from the theme aspect, but from the game aspect I would. I mean, it wouldn't bother me to play it. So that's something to kind of balance into this game too, if this would be one for you. But, you know, if you're okay with, you know, either one of those, then, you know, definitely check this out. Because like I said, I do like how it puts a good spin on trick-taking games. So again, this is Evan from Tabletop Gaming Guild. You know, if you like what you saw here, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you can get that notification every time we put out a new video, hit the like button, and throw comments down there if there's any other games you want to see us review. We'll be glad to take a look at them. But until later, have a good night.